So joining us on the program for an update is Grand Chief Joseph Tokwiro Norton, who's been very busy this week, and welcome to the program.
Thanks, you, Joe.
All right, so what can you tell us? This week, one of the actions that was taken was a group of people in support of Standing Rock decided that it would be their plan to actually block the railroad. So just give us a little update on that, and we can ask you a couple of questions.
Well, I guess it's been part of an ongoing protest, if you will, with the camp, if you want to call it that, that's been set up at the green spaces, and periodically various protests that have taken place in the form of placards and going up to the survival school and things of that nature, which are relatively safe in a sense and non-controversial to some degree. On the other hand, myself and the chief peacekeeper were informed, I think it was on Tuesday evening, that there was to be a 24-hour blockade of the railway CP line at what's called the Texas Crossing. That was at the last minute, so we were sort of caught off guard. And it's a group of young people that were involved, and they had a visit from the young lady who didn't really give me too much details. She said we're doing something at 6 o'clock, and then thereafter, Chief Peacekeeper calls me and said that it's 24 hours. So I immediately went to the site and met with the people and talked, and there was a bit of I would call communications gap. And there was a difference of an opinion on the information that was conveyed to me by the people that visited me, and I was supposed to have known it was 24 hours. And I said, no, let's get one thing straight. It wasn't. I wasn't told that. I don't mind, speaking up and saying exactly the circumstances, because I want people in the community to know and understand what happened and how it happened. But from there, we talked at length, and there was a contingent of peacekeepers that were present, and the discussion went this way and it went that way, and finally I said, look, I'm here to discuss one thing and one thing only, and let's work on that. So it came out fairly well. Everybody was satisfied with what was to take place for the next, by that point, the next 25 hours, whatever, or 25, the next 23, 22 hours. In any event, the peacekeepers kept a presence there, and they said, basically, you can't block the road because it's for emergency purposes. In the event there's something that happens, ambulances have to come in, or what, a fire truck. So they said okay. So they were off on the side. They weren't blocking the tracks or the road at all. And from there, I stayed there for several hours, and then I left and I went home. I did get a text in the wee hours of the morning, around 4:30, that a train had attempted to come through. They had stopped it. They had sent it back, but then yesterday, the phone starts ringing off the hook in terms of CP Rail calling the government of Quebec. Not so much government of Canada. Nothing was said there. They were pretty quiet about that. But throughout the day, we were involved in a number of different activities to try and, I guess, calm the situation down and make sure people understood that, this wasn't going to be another 1990. Some elders were quite upset about it and concerned, so we had to make sure that there was that understanding. Now, on top of that, what we have done is that a meeting has been set up with the organizers of these protests to get it very clear that if they want us to continue to be supportive and they want the peacekeepers involved in helping with security and safety, then we have to coordinate our efforts. Don't drop something on us at the last minute, And that's where Chief Bobby Patton, Chief Kenneth McCumber, and Chief Martin LeBarn also stepped in. They'll be a part of coordinating, working with this group and making sure that things will run smoothly. If we are going to do it. I said to them, you know what? You can protest every day. I support that. But let's make sure that it's safe and that we don't, and the very people that we're appealing to, we don't get them angry over this by inconveniencing them, if you want to call it that, in their travels in terms of trying to go to work in the morning and things of that nature. So we don't understand the maybe the consequences, the far greater consequences. CP Rail is scheduled to be here next week with the holiday train. They donate quite a bit of money to this community. We're trying to establish a train stop here with AMT, and all those things, and all that could go down the tubes if we don't do it properly and in cooperation and coordination with them. Mind you, I understand that there was a blockage of the railway the previous week or 2 weeks ago, but it was for a certain time period only, and everybody understood. It was in the evening. There was no tremendous effect, but this is different now. You're getting into a serious situation, and the point is the message was sent, the message was felt right across the country. This was major news, and if you wanted to get that effect, you got it.
Yep. So at this point, I guess we just have to wait for the meetings to happen, and the message also has to be made clear, because I know in the media that I had to deal with in the last couple of days, the reporters were the ones saying, you actually have a lot of support in Quebec. And I saw something on Channel 12 News last night where one of the guys who was affected, one of the commuters, said, I support what they're doing, but this is not going to help keep us on side. It's just going to get people angry and take away from the message. Because I guess when you look at the people of Standing Rock, they've been saying all along that, just keep the message peaceful and
keep it alive, and I think we have to become very creative and in terms of how we do that, and demonstrations are good. I mean, they really bring out a lot of issues, like the spontaneous thing that happened at Fairview, with the singing, the drumming, and in various other places that taking place. That's great. You got to start doing that so people get the message and understand that there's something serious here. And it also focuses on, or should be focused on, the situation here in Canada, here locally in Quebec, and in the region that we call Mohawk Nation territory. The Enbridge pipeline, a number of other actions such as that. That's the kind of, the MCK can do its part politically through our efforts to emphasize our anti-pipeline stance that we've taken for the environment, and also send a message to our neighbors, all the non-native people, that you should also be concerned about this. You should be involved in this, in one way or another. So we don't want to detract from that. We don't want to take away from that. So we have to be careful how the message is put out there and the kind of actions and activities that are taken.
All right. Thank you very much, Joe.